Nepal has been going through a big period of vicissitude. They're changing from a kingdom to a democracy. They've had 2 democratic elections in the past few years. They're changing from basically an agricultural country to a country that provides power through their hydroelectric system. Its #1 industry is tourism. I was privileged to go to Nepal on a wonderful tour in May of 2011. Today I'd like to share with you a few of my photos, talk to you a little bit about this changing country of contrast, and encourage you to learn more about it, save your pennies, and put it on your travel list. Mount Everest. No tourist can go to Nepal without seeing Mount Everest. However, my group was not able to flight see the day that we were planned to go to Mount Everest to flight see. This photo was taken 2 years earlier on a trip to Bhutan from a commercial airline as we overflew it. I usually don't grab a window seat, and when I travel with the tour companies, I usually don't have a choice in which seat I get. I had a perfect seat on that Bhutan flight to get a photo of Mount Everest. Nepal goes from the highest mountains in the world all the way down to very low jungle land. It's a small country about half the size of Colorado, and it's nestled between China on the north and then surrounded by India on the west, south, and east. Kathmandu is the capital of Nepal. This is the sacred site, the stupa in the center of the city. 80% of the Nepalese are Hindus. And Hindu, unlike most of our Western religions, is not just a Sunday religion. They go to the stupas and they go to their prayer sites most every day, and sometimes more than once. Kathmandu is a bustling city, in contrast with some of the agricultural areas, some of the Himalayan treks, and the jungles that I saw. In Kathmandu, we stayed out in the forest at the Gokarna Forest Lodge. Our nearest neighbor were the monkeys. I took this photo right outside my window. This is a rhesus macaque monkey. They were truly monkeys. You had to make sure your windows and doors stayed closed, or they would go in your room, wreak havoc, and eat everything in the minibar. After Kathmandu, we went on a Himalayan trek. And air travel is very important in Nepal because there's not a lot of roads. It's pretty rough country. What other name would you give your airline in Nepal except Yeti Airlines? We did an Annapurna trek. Now the Annapurnas are west of where Everest is, but the Annapurna Range contains 5 of the highest peaks in the world. You can see the trekking trail we were on. It was very well worn, covered with stones, lots of very nice walls, and even at places they had a lot of stone steps that we could use. Now the Annapurna circuit goes around the base of some of the Annapurna mountains, but we merely hiked into a lodge and then did day treks. Agriculture, very important. On our trek, we saw lots of farmers, lots of agricultural scenes. Cattle, chickens, goats, sheep. It was just really very pastoral and very calm and a wonderful trek. When we got to our lodge, it was totally cloudy. Within 2 hours, we could see Annapurna South, which is the 5th highest peak in the world. That night, during dinner, somebody said, the clouds are gone, and we went out, and as the sun set, we saw Machu Picchu, which is a peak in the Annapurnas, and you could probably guess that Machu Picchu means fishtail. During our daily treks, we had wonderful views and vistas of the mighty, tall, magnificent Himalayan mountains. After our trek in the Himalayas, we headed down to Pokhara and picked up a river raft cruise on the Seti River. Now the Seti River was not a whitewater rapid cruise. It was more of a sightseeing cruise. We saw the little villages, the lumber industry. They have a lot of hardwoods. They do some lumbering there. And we spent 2 nights in a tented camp while we were on the river. We did a couple of village visits, And the company I travel with likes to use local transportation. So we went into the village in this ox cart. It was extremely uncomfortable. They need buses. And it was interesting, we did see some of the roads from the villages, and I'm so glad that we took the river raft and the flights. After the village visit, we went on an elephant-back safari in the jungle. Now, Mount Everest is more than 29,000 feet. When we got down into the jungle, we were at 300 feet above sea level. Wow. We were looking for Bengal tiger in Chitwan National Forest. Unfortunately, we didn't see the Bengal tiger, but we saw this magnificent fellow. This is an Indian rhino. There's 5 species of rhino in the world. This is the second largest, and this is a one-horned rhino. This is a rather old rhino. His horn's worn out. They use it for protection. They do have some fighting when they're sexually mating. And they also dig in the soil for minerals, and they take dust baths. After our wonderful safari, they asked us if we wanted to wash our elephants. We headed down to the river, climbed on back of our elephants, and this is me on Kali Buana. She continually filled her trunk with water and sprayed us to cool us off. After the spraying, the mahouts laid them down in the water. We walked around them, we splashed them. They talked to us about the different physiology of the elephant, the special folds in their ears. It was a wonderful experience. Our next safari that same afternoon was in a dugout canoe. We went up the river, saw lots of birds and reptiles. We were headed for a jungle walk, magnificent, from the heights of the Himalayas into the jungle. As we came to the end of our jungle walk, we were at a gharial crocodile reserve. Now the gharial crocodile has lost most of its habitat. It only has 2% left. So they're trying to preserve this magnificent animal. After our safari, we returned to Kathmandu. We dressed in Nepalese clothes and went out for a wonderful dinner. Nepal, a country of contrasts, the highest mountains down to the jungles. I encourage you to save your pennies and go. And I didn't even tell you about all the beautiful flowers.